Howdy, folks. Welcome back to the Unqualified Film Bros. We are getting closer to the holiday season. We know Thanksgiving's next week. Still a few weeks away from Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, and Christmas. We are talking about the first big Christmas movie of the season. First one released in theaters anyway. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Chris Evans, J.K. Simmons, Kiernan Shipka. We're talking about Red One. Let's save Christmas, guys. What do you think?
Well, first of all, I think the let's get this straight. The biggest Christmas movie of the year was the one filmed on our very own Connecticut College's campus for, I believe, Hallmark. I
Are we
forget the
going to
name
talk
of the
about that one?
movie.
Are we going to watch it and talk about it?
No,
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 we are
it's been
not.
so
We are
terrible.
not. But that is by far the biggest holiday movie, Christmas movie of the year.
The
And
biggest Christmas movie is Nosferatu. That's it.
Craven the Hunter.
no, you both are wrong, but it's okay.
But this is a Christmas movie that was released before Thanksgiving.
I thought you might say that. 2 years ago, Violent Night was released. I'm pretty sure this same week.
It's a terrible, terrible thing that we do. I gotta see my neighbors put up Christmas decorations, and now I gotta see Christmas movies being released in fucking November.
Die Hard was
It's
released in
so,
July, pal.
yeah, but it was supposed to be released in Christmas. That's excusable. That was production delays. They intended to release that on Christmas. These movies are just being released like there's no reason that they couldn't just wait a month to release it. Yet they didn't. Why? I don't get it. This isn't even one of the like days of Christmas yet. I mean, we are so
The
far
Days of
away.
Christmas starts on Christmas.
No, they start
It goes until Three Kings Day, January 6th.
oh well, whatever. I'm Jewish.
I'm half Jewish and I knew that.
You're half Jewish though.
Fair.
Do you go to church?
No.
Have you ever been to church? Do you
I feel
celebrate
like I said that
Christmas?
really aggressively. I
Do you
did not.
celebrate Christmas? There you
It was
go.
so defensive. No, I don't go to church.
God, no. I
No.
have no experience with this. All I know is Christmas movies.
Yeah, would Red One have won our Christmas movie bracket from a couple years ago?
This
No,
movie would not even
no,
place. It
no.
would be so under. Let me start off with my opinion. So I think
Violent
this,
Night would beat this film,
yeah,
like
Violent Night
absolutely.
by
easily beats
far.
this film. I don't think no
This
one's,
film is like it's so generic in everything it's done. It's like generic, the movie. It might as well be a fucking Hallmark movie. I mean, it's Hallmark with a little bit of action and
That
a
cost
bigger
250
budget.
million dollars.
It's oh my God.
$250 million.
It's
And
such a disgrace.
it's gonna lose 75% of its budget.
It's such a disgrace. Well, it'll lose money because of its marketing budget. So that's
That's
easily
250
they probably
million plus marketing.
yeah, it's
Marketing's not
probably like
included in the 430.
450 or something for the total cost of the film. That's typically how it goes for these. So it's got to reach around 400, 450 million to break even. It's not making that. It's an like at points I was like, ah, that's kind of fun. But for the most part, I just kept thinking, man, this dialogue is atrocious. It looks okay, not great. The North Pole is probably the best looking thing. Um, there's some fun
The
like,
River looked pretty good too.
yeah, the there's some like Tim Burton callbacks. I feel like throughout this film, you get the Headless Horseman. You've got um the whole like the whole intro where Santa gets abducted. It felt like something out of Tim Burton's Batman, just with the North Pole.
Okay.
Um, and a lot of the music honestly seemed like it. When you get to Krampus's lair or whatever, it definitely felt like something out of Gotham. I don't know why that is. There's Tim Burton is not attached to this, project, but they felt the need to do that for some reason.
Well, when you've
I
got all
definitely
of
don't think it's
these
by accident.
mythological creatures, you're gonna want to
Yeah,
play up the eerie spookiness, and
it makes
nobody's done
sense to
that
play
better
up
than
the
Tim
eerie.
Burton.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense to play up the eerie spookiness, considering this is a Christmas movie, you know? Um, that
Should have
is
released it last month.
quintessential. Quintessential. Yeah, it's like in the middle. I just don't get it. All right, but whatever. Yeah, I thought this movie was really, really mediocre. That's that's kind of what I got from it.
Max?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Chris Evans, why?
Good Lord, man. At least
Well,
they let him do his Boston accent
yeah,
A little
it
bit.
did come through a little bit.
a
Yeah,
little bit. I don't know if that was intentional or if they're just like, he's it's just coming out. Let it happen.
probably
It's the way the
that.
guy talks.
Yep.
I mean, it just feels like there's no direction to this film, though. It's so generic and there's just no spark to any of it.
There's that's exactly it. I was just gonna say there's nothing truly remarkable about it. Like, I don't know if it was, I don't know where I saw it the other day on social media, but there was a question asked, has there been any like staying power to a Christmas movie released since like Elf, Love Actually, Polar Express in the early 2000s?
Well, obviously the holdovers, that's gonna have some staying power. That movie's great.
Hmm.
Yeah, but that's not really like about Christmas.
Sure it is.
I don't know if I fully agree with that.
It's about
I
the
mean,
holidays, pal.
yeah, I don't know how it could not be. If Die Hard is a
Okay,
holiday movie
you're
because it
right.
takes
You're right.
place
You're
during.
playing the Die Hard card, and I will relent. You're right. But
Um,
again, that's
yeah, I mean
that's
it
last year.
doesn't include Santa Claus. I'll give you that. Like Elf definitely is clearly being used as a reference point at some of these in some points of this movie. But I mean, there's been a lot of like, the Grinch, the really angry guy rediscovering his love and getting back with his kid. That's an Elf thing. I'm sure there's lots of other movies, but Elf is the first thing I thought of just because of that was the most recent movie. It's probably the one I've seen the most.
It's
Again,
up
I
there,
don't
yeah.
celebrate Christmas. I'm not a big Christmas fan. Other than Die Hard, we're not including that. I'm talking about like Santa Claus movies.
Yeah.
There are a lot of these. I know it seems like a niche genre, but there are actually a lot of these.
Well, it's
Um,
all it's all Christmas Carol. It's all
yeah,
the Scrooge character learns to love Christmas.
yep.
Yep.
But
Has
I feel
to
like
start
it was
believing.
so generic. Like the conversation with his kid and the whole dynamic there is just so
The kid,
stupid.
who, by the way, is played by Jimmy Kimmel's nephew.
That
And
is,
doesn't look like he would
Why?
come from Chris Evans. And
No, but he does bear like a surprising resemblance to Mary Elizabeth Ellis, which I actually really enjoyed.
I was not even paying. I
The
just,
waitress
every
from
time
Always
that
Sunny
plot
who
came up,
plays his mom.
yeah, it seemed like a necessary plot point, but with the bare minimum. Like
I
she
don't
didn't even
think
get mad at him that much for like not being a good father. Normally in a dynamic like this, I'm seeing at least at the start, oh my God, this guy is a deadbeat. He's showing up drunk to pick up his kid. I'm gonna yell at this guy. It's like you couldn't even do that, but then she's just like, yeah, but he'd really love to see you more. It's just so generic. I don't know what else to say. It's like it's straight from a Hallmark movie.
yeah, they went through the motions for $250 million.
Yeah,
and
pretty
2 hours
much.
and 3 minutes.
And
Yeah.
you got some action, but the action isn't even that like I'd much rather watch Violent Night if I want an action movie.
Yeah. I brought up the runtime because Max, I know you and I were dreading how long this movie was going to be. I will give it this. The pacing was not bad. It
Sure,
stayed
No,
up. It stayed
it
up
did
with
not.
what it was doing, and it didn't feel bloated. And 2 hours went by like that.
that was
Sure,
like a
but it didn't
simplistic.
need to be 2 hours. Like
Yeah,
it could have been an hour
Yeah,
45, an
some
hour
stuff
and
could have been cut
30.
out.
there's like nothing there. If you actually look at what happens, there's like nothing there. It's like Ryla's probably taken up a lot of the action, but most of it is just like, you're a naughty guy. Yeah, I'm a naughty guy, but my life sucks. And then he turns into, you know what? I'm not such a naughty guy. That's kind of his character arc right
Dude,
there.
Dwayne Johnson literally says, "Perhaps I misjudged you." Like, come on. And every single time J.K. Simmons is on screen, and he is an absolute delight, and I love that he got to play Santa Claus in live action because he did the voice work for Santa in Klaus like 5 years ago. But playing Santa Claus in live action and being shredded doing it, like you could tell he was having a blast, but with every line of dialogue, it felt like you were pulling teeth. Like he hated the words he was saying.
It was terrible. I
It was
Yeah,
truly,
bad dialogue.
yep. I think he used his character's motivation that Cal was gonna retire, that it sounded like he was gonna cry every time he was gonna speak. Like it literally sounded like he was choking up every time he opened his mouth.
I think even better though is when Dwayne The Rock Johnson starts talking about Santa Claus to Chris Evans, where he's like, is there like a vice Santa Claus or something? He's like, no, this guy goes to 36 different domiciles, delivers presents to like a billion different kids, and he does it all in without being detected. There's only one Santa Claus. He's so serious about it. I couldn't stop laughing. I truly couldn't. It was so ridiculous. The words coming out of his mouth with the most serious, you know, delivery. It's unbelievable. And Chris
Hey,
Evans just has to be like, yeah, I understand. It's a really tough job.
The Rock is technically an actor. He's he gets paid to appear
I'll give
on
him this.
screen.
You give that dialogue to a lot of actors, and I don't think they could deliver it like that.
You give that dialogue to Dave Bautista or John Cena, and this is a better movie.
I don't even know. I don't know. I don't think anybody can save that dialogue.
I don't know. Chris Evans was pretty funny sometimes, and
Yeah,
you know,
because he
Yeah,
was the one playing the fish out of water.
I think it worked until he was like halfway into the movie, and he's like, "All right, I gotta save Christmas." Uh,
yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'd say he's reasonably funny in this movie. But yeah, I feel like it's also just because everyone else is so dry. They're so serious.
yeah. Grilla,
Yeah.
Kieran
Tiernan
Shipka.
Tiernan Shipka, what are you doing?
Gryla.
Oh, dear
Gryla.
Lord,
Ben,
Gryla.
don't say her name.
Like it was the writing, but I think she was bad too.
I have no idea. I've seen Karen Shipka be pretty good, but I like seeing her in things, but I don't know what happened there. She
I
was
mean,
really trying to go for the evil witch thing.
Yeah,
Maybe it was also it seemed like a bit of the Sabrina acting coming out. That's like a CW-esque show.
it's true.
yeah, I think with what she was given, she does a fine enough job being this Christmas movie villain.
I will say I believed her more for the 1 minute she was in Twisters. I think she put on a better performance there.
That's not saying a whole lot because this performance was not great.
No, I to be honest, I think the only person that did a good job is two people, maybe J.K. Simmons. He's not in the movie that much, and Chris Evans.
Nick
The most part.
Kroll.
Krampus.
Nick Kroll just does
Yo,
his own. I can't consider that acting though. That's
no,
just
he
like
was playing himself.
he does it in every single role. I can't give him credit for that anymore.
Yeah, I've been rewatching a lot of The League on Hulu, and his character in that show. I mean, I just saw him in this movie as his character from that show,
He's the
and it fit
he's a
perfectly.
character guy. He's a comedian. He does the shtick. It's not like Larry David is changing himself for, Curb Your
Right.
Enthusiasm, playing Larry David. It's still funny. It
Yeah.
works. It's just not
And
really a performance to me
it
at this.
it works for one scene here. He fits
It
in the
works for
movie.
many things. I just,
Like
as I said, I'm not giving him credit for performance.
if you talk about the realism versus surrealism of the narrative here, and I'm using the word narrative very, very liberally here.
Those are complicated terms for this movie.
I know. No, that's noted as I'm saying it. Um, but as you look at sort of the Chris Evans world versus the Dwayne Johnson world, as they're colliding, Nick Kroll's character provides some very good context for sort of the nature of Chris Evans' role in this story.
Where does Gryla get the cash from, man? She's just like wiring these guys money. She's a
She's
Christmas witch.
a conjurist.
Conjures money.
She can conjure money, launder money, and mass replicate snow globes that trap people inside forever.
Yeah, I don't know.
until they atone
I was just like,
and then they break.
I
Yeah,
gotta be curious.
suddenly if you're nice, you break the naughty curse.
Yeah,
But
because
the
you're
whole
you're no longer
concept,
naughty.
I'm just realizing this now, the whole concept of the plan was anyone who has ever been naughty gets trapped in these things, but then as soon as you're nice, you
You're
break free.
thinking about it. See, that's the problem. You're thinking about it.
I'm trying to make it make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
No,
Anybody
what
that's
doesn't
ever
make sense,
jaywalked, they're going in the globe. In the globe. We're all going in the globe, guys. Anybody that's ever crossed the street without looking both ways, going in the globe.
And then like if that's the worst thing if you're going in for jaywalking, like that's the worst thing you've ever done. All you have to do is just say sorry to someone because you like bumped their snow globe when you got placed
Imagine
in, and then it
there's this
breaks.
guy. All right, think about it. This is a theoretical in this movie. Guy jaywalks in the globe. Can't get out. He doesn't know what to do. Guy who's murdered like 50 people going in the globe. He realizes that he just needs to be nice to someone for 1 second out of the globe. This is
can the
not a
snow
very good
globe
strategy.
detect when you're pure of heart in your niceness?
I say yes, we give them that credit.
Well,
It's a
sure.
fantastical world. Sure, why not?
The magical power of niceness is overpowering everything.
Hell, the apparently the lists are the size of Rhode Island, so
Yeah, but then when we see the list, it's a fucking iPad.
Yeah, but it's a really long document.
Yeah, but you look at the iPad and it just magically there's names floating around and then Aaron Abel because they don't want to identify whether it's
Oh yeah.
alphabetical by first name or alphabetical by last name.
Yeah, he's kind of using AI at this point, I think. He's getting a little lazy in his old age. And also killing the environment, killing the North Pole, his own environment, his own
yeah,
home.
Santa's got to go green, man.
That is honestly unbelievable. Um, yeah,
Speaking of,
I truly don't get all of the like. There's all the magic and tech in this. I have no idea what's happening. I don't know that I meant to, but they bring it up so much that I'm kind of curious now.
It's just like Wakanda. This is
At
like
least,
North Pole Wakanda.
at
Like they're
least
a hippie
Wakanda, you see people
society
like it
and they
makes
have
sense. All
crazy
right,
technology.
we're not like magical beings. We're just harnessing this magical rock. But then you get like Santa, and you're harnessing his magical power. I don't know what's happening anymore.
Santa is the magical rock.
He's the magical.
Santa's sleigh is made of vibranium.
No, literally, he is the magical rock because
It's
he couldn't leave the North Pole.
yeah, the North Pole powers itself
Yeah.
off of him. He is the battery. Yeah, I don't. It's a wild movie.
My viewing experience, this is a good opportunity to talk about this. My viewing experience was unlike anything I've had for a movie we've done on this podcast. Uh, I walked in and it was an IMAX theater because The Rock said Oppenheimer inspired him to get this made for IMAX. And so I had to see it in IMAX.
Did you sit in um Chris Nolan's seat?
I sat, I'll be honest, I don't really know what you mean by that. I sat middle.
He said that he sat in he asked the people who work at the theater where
Oh, I
Christopher
did read
Nolan
that.
sits
Yes.
at his premieres, and they said this seat
That
right here.
He's totally bullshitting him. Hey,
Yeah.
can I get a $1,000 tip for that? Christopher Nolan didn't even see it at that theater.
so so I walk into the theater and it's empty. Of course, it's 10:40 in the morning on a Thursday
In November, mind you.
in November for a Christmas movie for IMAX. And I'm like, all right, I'm here before the trailers start. No one's gonna, people will file in. There'll be a dozen people here. Why not? And I'm sitting there and the screen's dark and I'm like, all right, 10:43. Preview should probably start. I should probably see Maria Menounos at some point. And screen's still dark, theater's still empty, and I'm sitting there, I'm waiting. 10:50 rolls around, and I text you guys. I'm like, "Hey, should I like go talk to someone?" And of course, you guys didn't answer, which led me to believe that I had entered some parallel reality where there are no other people on Earth. And then I walked out of the theater at about 10:55, 15 minutes after the scheduled start time of the screening, and the lobby's empty. And I'm like, oh shit, there really is no other human beings on Earth. This movie has taken me into a fucking parallel universe. But then I did see someone behind one of the desks, so I, or one of the counters, and I walked over to her and I said, "Hey, so my screening was supposed to start 15 minutes ago, and the screen's still dark, no previews, nothing." And she was like, "Oh, let me go talk to somebody about that." So I go back to the theater, and for the first time in my life, I'm seeing a movie in a theater with absolutely no previews. The IMAX intro plays, see a movie or be part of one, the whole countdown shtick. And then I start hearing, what is it, Here Comes Santa Claus or whatever Christmas song remix they have at the start of the movie. And I'm still alone. And I sit in this IMAX theater by myself on a Thursday morning watching Red One. And if you had told me when we started this podcast a little over 3 years ago that I was going to get to experience an IMAX movie for a solo viewing experience, and you had told me it was going to be Red fucking One instead of Mission Impossible, fucking Oppenheimer, Killers of the Flower Moon, Dune.
Yeah, but the
Like,
problem is, in what world would any of those movies be empty theaters?
I have
Like,
no idea.
Yeah.
The indie theater that used to do all of the limited releases in New Haven that closed because of COVID, I had solo screenings there half the time I went, which was awesome, but they were, tiny little black box theaters type small spaces, small screen, small everything. This was fucking IMAX theater, and I was the only one in there for 2 hours.
Well, again,
but again,
it
it's
was
for
a
Red One in
it was a
November
Thursday morning for
at
Red One
10:30 in the morning.
in November.
You don't think one other person does a
No.
YouTube exclusive movie podcast
Well,
and was going to see?
George, I went
probably
today at 4:15 and there were three people.
yeah.
What makes you think there
There's
would be more
nobody
at
coming to see
I don't
10:30 in the
know.
morning?
movie sucks.
I will give this movie this. I went in with the lowest of expectations. I wasn't
It
expecting
actually
like
it did exceed my expectations. I'll give it
I
Yeah.
that.
I wasn't
It did
expecting
too.
like Morbius or Madam Web bad, but I was expecting 31% Rotten Tomatoes score, 90% audience score. I had a little hope, but I was not expecting much. My
You
expectations
should
were
you should look
exceeded.
at the Morbius audience score. Do it.
The only audience score I need to look at for Morbius is Chip's Letterboxd review, which is just 5 stars.
Yep. Yeah, you can't trust the audience. They're a bunch of trolls. But I imagine if you just have like a kid or something that's old enough to watch an action movie, I don't know, maybe it's something fun to go to the theater for, but
It's
for the most part,
PG-13 and they censor the one F-bomb they get.
yeah, I would rather watch pretty much anything else. Go watch
It's
Conclave. That's PG. I know the kids would love that.
Conclave is a fantastic movie.
It's a kid's fan favorite.
That's
It's
like
gonna
when
win at the
Harry
Kids'
Potter and
Choice
the
Award.
Half-Blood Prince was rated PG.
Yeah.
That's
And
absurd.
that was when they introduced Sectum Sempra, which like gashes you in the chest and like cuts you open, and they showed that on screen. That movie's PG.
It's
With the
it's
amount of
gory.
cigarettes smoked in Conclave, I was surprised it got the PG rating.
Not
I
just
thought
cigarette
maybe
smoke,
The amount of
vape smoke
cigarette,
too.
no,
it,
just the amount of cigarettes in that one shot by the of the pile of cigarettes.
Yeah.
also it has conversations about sexual assault. It has conversations about just well sex in the case of whatever that guy's name. It's got a lot of like serious topics. I'm still kind of surprised they got the
And
PG
that's why
rating.
it's PG and not G.
They just
Parental guidance advised.
they actually got away with it because the priests can't use bad words. That's one of their holy. They're just not allowed.
You
God
could
will
tell
see.
though, you could tell John Lithgow wanted to. When he found out he wasn't going to be Pope, you could tell he wanted to curse.
Yeah, he wanted to scream.
But anyway, Red One is tossed on the pile of kind of forgettable Christmas movies. It's gonna have some notoriety the next time someone overpays for a Christmas movie because of Dwayne Johnson and Chris Evans and J.K. Simmons.
Well, it's because Dwayne Johnson will be in it.
Yeah,
He was in Red One. He was in Red Notice with Gal Gadot and Ryan Reynolds. He's going to be in the next Red movie. It'll probably be another Christmas movie or another action movie. And he's going to wear
he
the
was not
same
in Red
tan
though.
polo shirt or tan button
Or
up. What?
is there gonna be a Red 3?
I hope so. I
They're
love
going to
those
complete the
movies.
trilogy.
It's been a while. I miss
Yeah,
them.
bring back Helen Mirren.
Bring back
Everyone.
yeah, bring back everyone. Bruce Willis, put him out
Can't
there.
bring back everyone. I was just going to say you cannot bring back everyone.
I know.
You could put Bruce Willis out there. Just
No, you
see
couldn't.
what he just see what he does, you know? Maybe they could just film him and they could use that. He could
Don't
be there.
like where this conversation's going.
No.
He could be back there. Let me be
Smile
free.
on what we had in his career.
It's so sad though. He's so
It
young.
is.
He used to be one of my favorite guys when I was younger. I used to love him. Watch every one of his movies. Even the damn stupid sci-fi movie where they have surrogates. I don't know.
I thought you were talking about Armageddon.
No, I love that movie. It's
Yeah.
great. No, it's like everybody is a has a robot. They're just all really fat and overweight, and
Oh yeah, speaking of, I don't know why it's not speaking of, but another thing that popped into my head about the movie
I
we're
was
actually
like,
talking
oh wow,
about
you know
tonight.
this movie?
No. What was the deal with the damn elves
Oh, I
being
don't know.
like
Those things,
weird Star Wars aliens?
they are nightmare fuel. There are a lot of things there that were
It was
nightmare fuel,
terrifying.
especially when
I
they.
don't
They were
think
scarier than
I
anything
think
we
what they
saw in
were I
Krampus's
think what they were
lair.
going for was Elf, like like what I forget what it stands for, whatever the acronym stands for. Like
Oh,
that's what they were doing. That's how they were
something
going with
else.
Elf.
Uh,
It's like logistics and fortification, something logistics and
Yeah, I forget what
fortification.
the E is.
I actually did get a good chuckle out of the trolls or searching the web, and then the
Yeah.
It's
answer was
actually trolls.
actually. I'll give them that one. But yeah, some of those things were nightmare fuel. They also did not look $250 million good.
No.
No, but some
It
of the
looked.
CGI was
I'm not
decent.
excusing them. They have $250 million. Did you see what they did with like a $10 million for Godzilla 1? They can't even like with 25 times the budget. They're not even replicating like a gigantic monster. They're just doing little tiny little
I mean, they
elves.
replicated Gigantic Monster at the end.
I'm not counting that.
That was
Um,
the worst CGI of the movie was when Gorilla becomes her true ogre self.
I am truly not counting any of that. That is not even. It was an assault on my eyes. Um, yeah, that's pretty much, I think, where a lot of my dislike of this movie comes from. Sure, it's not a great movie, very mediocre, but like it costs 250 million fucking dollars, and they can't even do the bare minimum. That's sad to me, man. I've seen so much stuff where practical effects. We watched Last Night with the Devil, or it's not Late Night with the Devil, and that movie costs a million, or a few million maybe. It did not cost a lot. They did so much stuff practically. So many people used to do things practically because it was pretty expensive to do everything CGI. Now you just like write a check. It's like, all right, put out some shit. And the poor CGI artists have to do all this. Like, do I really need all of this stuff animated? I mean, do you really need all of that, like random creatures walking around?
Hey,
It's
we
just burning
need
money.
we need to know that taking the carrots off makes them melt. We need to know
It's
that
like
if you try to grill their faces, they will
nobody
turn
thinks about
around and
this.
still try to kill you.
I think a lot of the new Hollywood, all of their movies typically did well. They kept the budgets down. The main thing is like, especially a guy like James Cameron, they all work with Roger Corman, who financed a lot of his own stuff and always made money. And when the money is yours, you're going to make sure you get every dollar's worth. But now you have studios that don't really care about that. It seems like they're willing to like throw away movies that don't make enough, but they're just as willing to write a check for borderline the same schlock. It's sad, man. This is not excusable. So, I mean, sure, some of it looks okay, but for the money they have, the resources, no, not excusable. It's like making rookie mistakes in the NFL. You're there, or not even rookie mistakes, like truly horrendous mistakes. You gotta, you gotta take accountability for this one. The director, everyone involved. Like you have the money too. It's just as much your fault that it looks this way, that it is this way.
Yeah. Did anyone look up if Jake Kasdan, the director of this movie, is related to Lawrence Kasdan?
No.
Oh no, it's terrible.
Because I did the research on Jimmy Kimmel's nephew. Okay, we're good. We're
That would
good.
be terrible. That'd be
I
horrendous.
went on his letterbox
Wait,
page.
yes.
What?
What?
Lawrence? Yeah.
Was it like a nephew?
Nope. Father.
Oh God.
Oh no, it is on his letterbox page. I skipped over it.
On his
Terrible.
Wikipedia.
Well, on that rather disappointing note,
It's okay. You know what? You're allowed to. Did he? This has he done? He's done nothing. You know what? He did Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story. That one's pretty funny. I like that one. It's a great movie. Bad Teacher? No. Sex Tape? No. Jumanji? Welcome to the Jungle with The Rock? No. Jumanji? The Next Level? No. And then Red One.
he's also doing an untitled Lego movie. So
Yes.
This
is
guy
that going to
needs help.
be a
His father needs to sit him down and tell him this is not the way to do it.
hey, he's getting to make $250 million movies with Dwayne Johnson and Chris Evans. Yeah,
That's
it's not
that
great, but you're still getting to do it.
Sure, but did you see who his father is? He could do much better than that. If he can get
In
250
theory,
million dollars to make this, he can make 25 million dollar movies that are much better.
oh my God, you're right.
Like there's no excuse, man. You took 250 million dollars.
He
You
ran
could
Make
do
away
this.
with
anything with you could
250
do
million
anything with
dollars.
$250 million.
Yeah, like make a different movie. They wouldn't even notice.
Yep. Well, with the nepotism rampant in this movie, we will call it there, I think. Red One is currently playing in movie theaters.
And currently, and will stay in the red.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nice. So yeah, go check it out. Form your own opinion on it. Um, so it's certainly a way to spend 2 hours plus this holiday
Maybe go
season.
bowling instead. Or you could
Um,
watch the big red one, an actually good movie.
so we're doing Gladiator 2 next week. Uh, we're very excited about that one. Should be a whole
Yeah.
heck of a lot of fun.
Yes, we
I think
are.
Ben's hosting that one, so we'll hand over the reins.
I'm excited for naval battles.
Naval battles at the Coliseum. It's gonna be so cool. All right. We will see you next week for Gladiator 2. In the meantime, go see Red One if you want to. Good night, everyone.
Good night.